Chapter 19. Another Secret. The seeds Dickon and Mary planted blossomed, giving the garden the color and life it had missed for so many years. The rose bushes bloomed too, climbing the trunks and walls like ivy. Day by day and hour by hour, leaves grew and buds opened, filling the air with a sweet scent. On the days that it didn't rain, the children worked and played in their garden. Colin was able to see it all. Every morning Dickon wheeled him out. For Colin, it was wonderful enough just to lie on the grass and watch things grow. Most fun of all was watching the creatures play in their garden. Nut and Shell and Captain and the Robin amused them for hours. Each day, Dickon charmed a new creature on his way across the moor, bringing it to live in the secret garden. Soon there were rabbits and squirrels and foxes. Each day, Colin grew stronger and stronger and walked a bit further. He was on his way to becoming completely well again. Colin's speedy recovery presented a problem. The more Mrs. Medlock and Dr. Craven saw Colin get better, the more they spoke of writing to Colin's father to tell him the news. Colin wanted to be the one to tell the good news to his father. He longed to show his father that he was as normal as other boys. So the children came up with a plan. In the garden, when they were alone, Colin was to walk and run and exercise as much as possible. But in front of Mrs. Medlock and Dr. Craven, Colin would stay in his wheelchair and complain of aches and pains. The only other person they all agreed to let in on their secret was Susan Sowerby, Dickon's mother. So one night, Dickon told his mother the whole story about the key in the door and about how Mary found Colin. He also told her how Colin was walking and running like a normal boy. Susan Sowerby was so happy to hear about Colin, she cried tears of joy. "My world!" she exclaimed. "What a good thing it was when Mary came to live at Misselthwaite Manor. But what about Mrs. Medlock and the boy's doctor? What did they make of all this?" "They don't know what to make of it," Dickon told her. "Every day Colin looks different. His face is all filled out, and that pale yellow color is completely gone. But he still has to do a bit of complaining," Dickon added with a sneaky grin. Susan Sowerby stared at her son's twinkling eyes in confusion. "What do you mean?" she asked. "He does it to keep them from guessing what's happened," Dickon explained. "If the doctor knew he could stand on his feet, he would write and tell Lord Craven. But Master Colin is saving that news. He wants to tell his father the secret himself. He's going to get bigger and stronger every day, so that when his father returns he can show him he's healthy." Dickon's mother chuckled. "Master Colin is carried down to his chair every day," Dickon went on happily, "and he yells at the footman, John, for not carrying him carefully. He tries to look as helpless as possible, so he groans and grunts when he is put in his chair. Then Mary says, 'Oh, poor Colin. Does it hurt much? Poor Colin.' They can hardly keep from laughing. When they're safely in the garden, Colin jumps up from his chair and they laugh until they are completely out of breath." Susan Sowerby laughed too. "I'm so glad to hear the boy is well," she exclaimed. Back at the manor, Dr. Craven just shook his head. He had just finished examining Colin, who had been complaining of aches and pains all night. During the examination, Mary stood behind the door, making silly faces at Colin. "I'll leave a bottle of pills with a nurse," Dr. Craven told Colin. "When your head and back aches again, she'll give you a pill." "All right," Colin answered as weakly as possible. He tried desperately not to burst out laughing. When Dr. Craven left the room, he and Mary could hold it in no longer. They had to grab pillows from Colin's bed to muffle their laughter.